Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode here at Catholic Table Talk Podcast. This is the podcast where everything Catholic is on the table. A little bit of a different camera angle, but a different view from Studio T here at my home. Well, I thank each and every one of you for listening, watching, subscribing, all that stuff on YouTube and Facebook and all of our pages. This show wouldn't be possible without your support. Speaking of support, we do have a sponsorship. If you like to get sponsor a show, or just us more than a show, but do a few shows or just consistently donations, please reach out to me and email us at catholictt@gmail.com. Again, it's catholictt@gmail.com for sponsorship as well as if you have a show or speaker request. But back to the sponsorship. This show is sponsored by, once again, How Old Is Your Church? An Introductory to Catholic Apologetics by Ken Litchfield. Thanks to Ken for sponsoring this show once again. Like I said, catholictt@gmail.com for sponsorship packages information. Now let's get on to this week's show, which it's when this show is released, we're going back to college or it's back to school for most of the families across the country. And if you're sending your kids off to college, especially if it's your first kid, you kind of want, and if you're rooting deep in your Catholic faith or Christian faith, you kind of want to know it's going to be a good college you're going to. Like Catholic activities, Christian activities, just great activities so your children can hopefully get enrolled or get active in them to stay, to keep the faith. So I have a good he's my only brother. Um, Sam Sauber, he's coming in. He's been on the show twice already. Episode 23 with What is Stewartville Conference, as well as episode 42 with Ultra Soaring 101. So if you like to see those videos, please click on the upper left hand corner, especially on YouTube, or just look them up on the channel. With that being said, let's welcome in Sam Sauber, my brother, who is going back to college again real soon. Thanks for coming back on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, it was a yes or no question, and it was some time getting on, but we got Sam back on the show. And like I said, we're going to talk about Catholic or activities you can do at college to stay in the faith while you're at college. Especially this is great for parents sending the children off to school, especially for the first time. Um, so with that being said, you go to Bemidji State, right?
Correct. Yes, I do.
Bemidji State. That's Bemidji, Minnesota, by the way, if you don't know where that was. Um, and our sisters went to South Dakota State. Um, you go to a lot of colleges. Mine doesn't win one, but it's mostly a community college. But you hear a Newman Club, Newman this. So what is a Newman?
So Newman Center is like a specific. It was founded by John Henry Newman, and it's geared towards developing young adults for furthering their faith in the Catholic Church. Most of the time, there is a Newman Center on campus where students can go, and there's usually a chapel, and there's masses can be done, there's adoration, there's activities, gatherings, events, barbecues. You can get together and just grow in fellowship, and yeah, Newman Center is just a really good way to like find yourself as you're going to college. You know, getting to know your education, getting your education. That way you can understand how your faith plays an important role in your life, especially as you go away from home.
Right.
Maybe it's the first time, and you can really find out how much you really need the faith at that point in time.
Right. And like you said, it's John Henry Newman founded it. It's like I said, it's mostly a lot of colleges have them, especially a 4-year college like Bemidji is.
And if I may,
Yeah,
Bemidji actually does not have a Newman Center
right.
on campus. They used to, but starting last year, or actually not starting last year, but my first year was last year, and there isn't a Newman Center on campus. But the church is actually like 5 minutes away from campus, so it's a very short drive, and like
I like how
a
you
group
say,
of us will get together. We'll go down to the church. Excuse me, and we'll participate in any activities going on. We'll go to church. Anything that Newman Center is doing.
I like how you said a drive. It's only 5 minutes away, but you said drive instead of walking because it gets kind of cold up in Bemidji, doesn't it? In the
Oh yes,
wintertime.
it does. We've walked there before, and it's not too bad.
Right. So that's nice. You don't have a center on campus, but you have a church nearby. And like I said, for me, down at my college, it's a community college. Of course, no Newman Center. The college is kind of out of town, but there is a little ministry house. I believe I called it a chapel before. It's not really a chapel. It's just a ministry house. Um, Actually, it's run by the Baptists, and they do various things from there. I'm not in it, but that's they do various things there. But there's great Catholic groups down in Wilmore, especially through their church as well. Not necessarily on the campus part. If you get through the church, though, it's a lot of great groups in the church. So you talk about all these activities you do, and what it's about. But what do you do in Newman Club? What are these activities that, like you mentioned?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of what we do is fellowship. Newman Club meets twice weekly, so we meet Sundays and Tuesdays. Sunday we obviously meet. It's called um, M&Ms. So we have M&M Day or M&M Night, and we meet Sunday for mass, and then we'll have a meal afterwards, and usually some kind of an activity afterwards. To grow in fellowship. We went around Lake Bemidji biking one time. You can go sledding. Ice skating. We've gone to Lake Itasca before, and yeah, just a lot of good opportunities. And then Tuesday night, we have an M&M night, so it's mass and a meal, and we'll have weekday mass that night, and then we'll have a meal after, and usually a good hour or so of fellowship. Just getting to know each other. Usually we can play games, just hang out, watch a movie, something like that. But what we also have done, at least for me personally last year, was we did volunteer activities over part of spring break.
Mm-hmm.
So that included we would shovel snow for people. We helped out like with Habitat for Humanity, just some small stuff. It can be very small, but just very beneficial for
Mm-hmm.
those that are in need of it, and they're very thankful for that. And that's kind of what Newman Club is. What we did last year. That's for sure. And I know that personally, you can take your faith on all kinds of different levels.
Right.
And Newman Club definitely helped me to, you know, maybe go to adoration more, attend mass, and just you get to know the priest on a whole different level,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
to have that knowledge of the priests and get to know them, and you can ask good, deep, personal questions about the faith.
Right.
It's huge, because there's so many questions that you can ask,
Right.
especially if you're on a secular campus, and you have friends that are maybe not Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and or maybe not Catholic, and they ask you questions and you have no idea. Having those connections in the Newman Club, whether it be priests, the Newman leaders, you can go and ask them questions, and they're very, very willing to help you out as students.
Right. And I mean, just for my experience down at my college, I mean, having good priests makes a lot of difference. Just like you say, you can ask some personal questions, um, that type of stuff. Now it's really great. I think, like you said, that it was like an hour after a fellowship. I mean, that is huge, especially in the fall, because a lot of people probably don't know each other when you first get there, but then as the school year drags on or goes through, you become really close friends. And
Definitely.
you probably wouldn't have met those people elsewhere, and that's how you surround yourself with good people instead of being out there um, in the at the rest of the college, especially if it's a big college, where the people might not be so the best. But if you stay close to Newman Center, that would be nice.
Oh yeah, it definitely develops good connections, and you start off with a great group of people. And I like how you mentioned the school year drags on, but
Well, yeah, right.
the
I mean,
school year just goes on. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, you definitely make some great connections, and Newman is like a great way because it's like it's a youth group
right,
and young adult group, and you can play just some outgoing games. That way you get to know people without having to go up to each person and ask the same questions.
right,
If you're in a decent sized group of people, and that person gets asked the same question,
right,
you can just play a nice easy game, and you get to know 10 to 15 people very well.
right. And just one more quick question. Like you have helped out with a mass, haven't you? Newman, they kind of help out with masses at times too, so you can kind of you almost feel a part of that parish sometimes if you help out either if it's the chapel if they have a center on campus or if they like you for instance have a church but they meet there and stuff but you help out at masses too.
Occasionally we do, yes. One time last semester we had to, a few of us had to help out for ushering. So if you just some random things like that. They've asked us, some of the Newmanites, to lector and read the readings, and yeah, just some um, very simple things, but yet very key and very beneficial for it. They've asked us if anyone's willing to serve in case they don't have enough servers. So it's always nice to, and like you said, it makes you feel more a part of the parish.
Right.
You get to know more people in the parish, and it really just helps out. You get to know more people, and that deepens your relationship. Because when you deepen your relationship with people around you who are godly,
Mm.
very and holy,
Right.
it deepens your relationship with God too.
And I mean that's just and they and elderly people and older Catholics like to see younger folks like you and I come in and they help out at church. Just in our parish community here, so many churches need help of volunteers to help out at the mass. No one wants to do it. So thank you for helping out at the mass because I mean not everyone does help out at the mass. It's a lot of people who don't help out at the mass who probably should, but you guys kind of give them a lifeline if they need some help at mass, especially if it's Ash Wednesday or because yeah, that's great.
And there's a lot of it where we've messed up, and
Well, right,
it's all a learning experience. So
right,
it's definitely good.
right. So kind of getting down there on time for this show, but excuse me, but how like you said, kind of deep into your faith. What other ways can it help you deep grow in your faith as a Catholic?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So like up at Bemidji, we had some upperclassmen, and they had previously started Bible study. So we would go to Bible study on Friday nights, Catholic Bible study. And of course, you can bring other friends, and you can talk about the scriptures you're reading, the passages. And you could start a rosary group. You could start a prayer group of any kind for Catholics. There's lots of up at Bemidji. There's quite a few Bible studies. There's different kinds. There's like specifically a men's Bible study. There's women's Bible study. There's like mixed Bible studies. All different denominations.
Right,
And there's so much out there. I think the key is if there's anyone that's really looking to further their relationship, make sure you stay in your denomination as your core. for me, make sure you stay committed to Newman activities,
All right.
and everything will take care of itself. There's amazing other ministry groups and denominational groups, Bible studies, and it helps you get some different viewpoints, and you can talk about your differing beliefs
Right.
and whatnot, and that's very good. We need more of that.
Right. Yeah, we sure do. I know, like I said, Bemidji State you go to. So that's what we're kind of talking about. But there's other colleges really strongly recommend if you're sending a kid, one of your kids, or maybe it's a relative who's not sure about if it's the right college for them for their children. Um, look into the Newman Center stuff with its clubs like Bemidji has at the church, or if it has a Newman Center and chapel on campus. Look into that, and like Sam said, you can start various clubs. You can Bible study, you can do this, you can even community colleges have clubs. Like I said, Wilmore doesn't have a lot of of any like Catholic clubs, but doesn't mean you can't start one. Especially if you don't have a Newman Center on campus, get in touch with the local parish and priest, and I'm sure he would be happy, whoever that would be, to start a club where because same thing, they want to keep going the faith, spreading the faith. So that's a possible idea as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask the pastors or just leaders in the Newman Center, or even just very holy people in the church.
Right.
They want to see those young adults out there trying to further their faith, and just ask for their support. Maybe they would lead
Right.
a Bible study, but they just the young new students, they just need someone to lead them and kind of get an understanding of how to conduct a Bible study. So don't be afraid to ask.
I mean, especially if the student after high school, if they're really big into faith formation, let's say at the parish throughout high school. I mean, college is scary. It is kind of it's out your comfort zone. It could be, whether you want it or not. Um, but going to like Newman Club would probably make you feel more comfortable and confident and all that. So that's probably a really great choice. Sam, is there anything else you'd like to say about Newman Centers, Newman Clubs, what you guys do up in Bemidji? Or do you have any fun activities you have coming up this school year?
Well, I'm hoping to keep. Well, I'm keeping my agenda open because I know we always have a lot planned, and I know a lot of it is left to the students.
Sure.
So we try to. We're not very good at deciding, but to maybe come up with some ideas on what to do. But I'm definitely looking forward to it and growing off of last year.
Right.
So definitely.
And how did you come across the Newman Center?
So I would go on to the Bemidji State, the college website,
Right.
and you would look up clubs and organizations, and you can scroll through all the different clubs and organizations, and usually for us it's called BeaverLink, but there's usually a separate site with all the clubs and organizations, and you can search, you can scroll through, and it's usually just titled the Newman Club, Newman Center, Newman Ministry, and that's how I found it.
Yep.
So
Cool.
and if you get subscribed and you enroll in that Newman Club, then they should probably send you an email, and you'll get an email with following information on a meeting place.
Sure. All right. Well, it sounds very good. Hopefully you all have learned something. Like especially if you're sending your kid off to the first year after college, or you've been multiple and you want more information about Newman Center or club like Bemidji State. Hopefully you found this helpful. Sam, thank you again. We'll maybe have you back on the show sometime, but thank you for. I mean, I know I've been bugging you about coming on, but thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
All right, folks, that's my brother Sam Sauber. You can catch him like I said, episode 23 with the West Silver Conference, as well as episode 42 with Ultra Showing 101. That will do it for this week. Hopefully, you found something helpful, informational, and God willing, we'll see you again, same time, same place next week. God willing, where everything Catholic is on the table.